Today, I'd like to talk about healing. We all need healing. We all need something in our lives need healing. The whole world needs healing. And even what comes into your mind when you think about healing, right? Like healing an illness or healing a disease or healing an injury. Yes, our physical bodies all need healing. I'm sure we all have something to heal from. But healing goes beyond the physical. It is a healing of our relationships, or healing of ourselves from a relationship. If a relationship is falling apart, there is some healing we need to do within ourselves. Maybe there is a relationship that needs some healing so that you can be happier in the relationship. Our mind needs healing. Our minds need healing. The whole world needs to heal their minds. There are so many people struggling with anxiety, with depression, stress. It's so easy to understand how we want to numb our human experience so we can quiet the monkey mind or lessen the pain, whether it's a mental pain, a physical pain, maybe it's an energetic pain. But it's so easy to want to numb so that we can escape the heaviness of life or to just make it stop for a while. But here's what I have come to understand as truth, is that we didn't come here to numb this life. We came here to heal it, to heal our mind, to understand our brain, to truly remember who we are beneath all of that, like beneath the fear, beneath the judgment, beneath all of the control we think we need to have in this human experience. We've all experienced something in our life that we need to heal from. And if you have anything that you need to heal from, that means there's a huge opportunity for growth, for your human to grow and to evolve and to learn so much. Again, to remember who you truly are beneath all of that pain or all of that criticism or whatever it is that you need to heal from. So in my healing journey, what I've come to understand, that once I started to take responsibility for my life, that is when the healing begins. And taking responsibility doesn't mean we blame ourselves at all. It means we, what I call, step into our power. It is so empowering to take responsibility for our life, to stop blaming someone else or something, or the world is chaotic and crazy right now. Yes, it is. But if I just hand all of my power over to the craziness of the world or what somebody did to me, I'm in a weakened state. That's not very empowering at all. So taking responsibility for your life is healing and empowering. But what does that mean? Like when you're like, hey, what does taking responsibility for my life really mean? First and foremost, and this is a tough one when you're in the midst of a healing journey, is to drop the blame story. Whether you're blaming yourself, so maybe you got a diagnosis and now you're blaming yourself, saying, I shouldn't have lived my life that way. Or maybe you're blaming somebody else for, here's a relationship that needs healing, right? Whether it's a relationship that is ending or a relationship that's trying to be saved. Both have to drop the blame story to find any kind of peace or any kind of healing. No healing can begin until we drop the blame story. And in that dropping of the blame story, we also drop the victim story. And the victim story is so disempowering. There is no healing that can happen in the mind and in the body and in your life if you're stuck in a victim story. So the blame story and the victim story need to be dropped. And then we realize, we got to change our story, because if we've been stuck in a blame story or stuck in a victim story, we're telling a really crappy story. So we have to stop feeding that. So taking responsibility means I'm no longer going to feed that blame story or the victim story or that crappy story. The other thing, in order to heal, and we can take control of our own healing, right? This is it. This is surrender to your own healing, is to stop complaining. Seriously, stop complaining about anything, about your pain, about your body, about someone else, about the world out there. Seriously, if we are in a place of complaining, we're telling another crappy story and we are stuck in a loop, and there can be no healing in that space. Okay, so dropping judgment. That is the other one. Whether we're judging ourselves, whether we're judging our body, whether we're judging our illness, whether we're judging someone else, whether we're judging the world, drop it. Drop the judgment. Now, these aren't easy to do, right? It's not easy if you've had a lifetime of, being a victim or having blame stories or, telling really crappy stories, or if, you kind of thrive on the complaining and, there's a lot of judgment in there. It's not easy. Okay. I'm not saying it's easy. And I can tell you, I used to be, very much stuck in my blame story, very much stuck in my victim story, very much stuck in crappy stories. Oh man, did I complain, and judgment was a big part of my life. So I can tell you from experience, this isn't easy to do. But if you do, you will begin to shift your belief system. And when we have crappy belief systems, which I'm going to call BS, you got crappy BS, it's so disempowering. That's when your relationships will fall apart. That's when relationship with your body will fall apart. That's when illness and sickness and all of that comes in. We need to start to shift our belief system. That's how we heal our mind. And again, that comes in starting to understand our brain. Okay, so again, these three: take responsibility for your life, dropping the blame story, the victim story, the judgments, that crappy story, and to stop complaining. We're the only ones that can do that for ourselves. The world is not going to change so we can stop complaining. That relationship cannot get better if, one or both people are stuck in a blame story or a victim story. We can't, if we're like, well, if the other person will just stop it, then I can too. No, this is us taking responsibility for our life. We're the only ones that can do it. Not your partner, not your friends, not even a pill. Even though sometimes, whether you're on a healing journey of the mind or the body, sometimes medication can help along that, and so can supportive friends. But too much numbing, or too much excusing, or too much blaming or enabling, that will sabotage the deeper work that we really all truly need in order to heal. So healing begins with a decision to take responsibility for your life, the decision to stop blaming, the decision to stop complaining, the decision to stop judging, and to instead, here it is, hear these words, change how you are going to show up within what? Within the pain, within the dysfunction, within the whatever is unfolding in your life. This is a time to surrender to your own healing. And when you can change that belief system and start to drop those stories, or when you drop the stories, the belief system can start to shift. But then we create the space in order for us to heal. again, whether it's a physical healing, whether it's a mental healing, whether it's, you know, a relationship healing, maybe it's the healing of the own relationship with yourself. This is how we surrender to our own healing. And you know, Eckhart Tolle has a quote, right? I'm not going to say it exactly here, but something like surrender comes when you no longer ask, why is this happening to me? Right? That's how we surrender to our own healing. Let go. If nothing is happening to us, we're having a human experience. So that's the turning point. When we stop fighting what is, this is happening. Let's take responsibility. And I'm going to take responsibility for my own healing. That's so empowering. That's where the freedom is. Not in control, not in trying to manipulate, not in, you know, numbing. It's an awareness, not in resistance. It's an understanding our mind and the energy of our bodies and having them work together. Okay, so that's exactly what my next, you know, personal development series is all about. I'm calling it Whole Brain Living, where whole brain meets the Celtic chakras. And what this is if anybody's heard of Jill Bolte Taylor's book of Whole Brain Living, she just brings such an incredible awareness to our brain and how it functions and how it leads to, again, belief systems that don't serve us, how we get stuck in loops, and you know, that need to numb our life or need to quieten our pain, when what we really need to do is find the courage to face our pain, or to face, you know, what's beneath all the judgment and all the blaming. And so I'm bringing this in with the chakras, the Celtic chakras, which is, you know, still working with the traditional chakra system, but in a way that we pair it to understand this brain. So that's where we're diving into, and I'm so excited to bring this in, because this is exactly what this week's intention is about. How do we take responsibility for our life? How do we step into that place of empowerment? That is, again, the pathway to healing, right? So that's what this intention is for us. I want you to just open your mind. Can you drop the blame story? Can you drop the victim story? Can you drop the judgment? Can you stop complaining? And if you're going, I don't think I can. I've had a lifetime of this. I don't even know the first place to begin doing this, right? Then I'm going to say, sign up for these classes, or if you are signed up for these classes, really be in a space of opening your mind and opening your heart, because this next series has the potential to actually change and shift everything in your life. Okay, so that's what this week's intention is. Just open up the mind to that. Even if you're not sure how to take responsibility for your life, or how you can possibly drop that story that you've been feeding for, I don't know, 20, 40 years, know that there is, this stuff is teachable. It is teachable if you are open to it. Again, you're the only one that can do it. I can teach it, but if you're not open to receiving it and willing to take these steps, like if you're like, no, I'm staying stuck in this blame story, I can't help you. And either will the series, this next series. But if you're open and willing and going, yeah, I am so ready to heal my life and heal my body and heal my relationships. And if that is where you're at, and again, I was in that place going, I ain't doing this, but I did. It's not easy, but I'm going to tell you, it's super rewarding. It really leads to healing and happiness. So that is the intention this week. If you are interested in these classes, this series, and you're not signed up for it, please contact me and we'll get you signed up. So namaste, my friends. Step into this big empowering space of taking responsibility for your life.